TYFU.
And we're back. We go right into the episode laughing.
We're so funny.
How you doing, Marilla?
I am.
Besides being hilarious.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Lest we get a big head, we should get serious here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this episode is going to be
humbling.
demoralizing. Can I just say
didn't even think
that you're
about
very
that.
funny? Can you tell me I'm very funny?
Beth,
and
you crack
can
me
you
up
say like
all
I'm
the
a nice
time.
person?
You're beautiful.
Okay.
You're reasonable. You're logical.
And I don't deserve any negative reviews.
Nope.
We knew the topic going in this week,
one.
but I'm going to, rip the envelope anyway.
As you should.
A little late. Better late than never. The
I love
topic
it.
this week is bad reviews.
Bad reviews.
Now, Marilla, I have heard a rumor that your store, Marilla's Mindful Supplies, has never actually suffered through one negative
All
review ever.
Well, maybe you would understand if you were as flawless and perfect. No, it's okay. There's some things to unpack here.
Okay.
One, it's true. The first thing, it's true. I don't have a formal bad review, and don't any of you get any ideas.
All right.
Okay. Don't get any ideas.
Yeah, don't prank her with a bad review.
Please,
She doesn't
I am
deserve
sensitive.
it.
I don't have any bad reviews that are formally like posted on Google or Yelp or anything like that. But I'm also a very young business. Mm-hmm. And I have experienced negativity in my life, believe it or not, in the form of other businesses I've worked at or in the comments of the business I have now. So I don't know where they are. I can't really track them down, but I have gotten comments before
They were negative?
they
were mean-spirited?
They were a little mean-spirited. They weren't exactly the nicest or coming from the nicest
Oh,
place.
I'm remembering one story you told me where a woman was telling a man about what your business is all about, like sustainability, and he's like, well, that's stupid. Tell that story.
Yeah, okay, that was the third thing I was going to say. Is I don't have the physical reviews on Google, but I've gotten bad reviews just in person. And this was one to my face, which honestly, kudos. That takes courage. So in this instance, it was kind of recent, and I had this husband and wife come in, and she was elated to be in the store she had been in before. She was so thrilled to show the store to her husband and excited, and she was
like taking him on a little tour of the store.
She was taking him on a tour. I didn't have to explain anything. She was giving him the layout and how you do things and she knew it backwards and forwards. And she gets done with her whole pitch of the store, and he looks around. He was like, well, this is pretty dumb.
You're pretty dumb. Is that what she said? You're pretty dumb.
I literally, oh my God, I wanted to go to bat for this woman because I was just like, oh, she loves this. You should support her.
Yeah.
But also,
Let's have a special
right
guest
here.
divorce attorney on, because that's what we need for this episode.
Oh my God. Yeah. So on top of it being personally insulting to me, I felt it was a little rude to his spouse to rain on her parade. And then, by the way, he couldn't even stand to be within the store another second.
Well, your story is dumb.
It was dumb. It was too dumb. I think he made a comment about how stupid it was, and he walked out the door and sat in the blazing sun on the bench outside the store.
That's how dumb Marilla's store is, everyone.
And she was so sweet and so nice, and I value her so much. And she was just like, ugh, whatever. And she did her thing, and they moved on, and they lived happily ever after.
Well, I'm
But
sorry that happened to you and to her.
I was conflicted because on one hand, it did feel personal, but on the other hand, I was like, that's ballsy. Like, yeah, you got it, dude. Like, just say what you mean. Don't mince words. Like, there's a little bit of me that was like, yeah,
I think that you're pretty good at that, being authentic.
Yeah.
Saying what you think. And so I guess it's possible that you would admire it in someone else, even if it was against your own store your own customer.
And that's how I felt. I was like, okay, it was so ridiculous. And so there was nothing behind it. He didn't elaborate. He was just expressing what he felt in the moment. And then he just peaced out. He was out of there.
Yeah. God bless him for being in touch with his,
that's right.
True feelings.
That's right. And communicating.
Awesome. Well, unlike you, I have had actual negative reviews.
I don't believe that.
I can hardly believe it myself, but it's true. It's true. But I will say one thing that has happened, and I don't know, I was going to say, I don't know if you can relate to this, but of course you can't because you've never had a negative review. But so I sell some things on Etsy here and there, and one of my 1-star reviews has some comments attached to it, and the comments are exactly as described. Well packaged for shipping. Arrived overnight. So satisfied with my purchase. 1 star.
1 star. Yes. Oh, those are the worst.
So I think that was maybe a mistake.
I think so too.
And so I want to chalk up most of my negative reviews to mistakes. The customer has made a mistake.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair and reasonable. As I said at the beginning of the episode, you are reasonable, you are logical. No, I can relate to that though. A lot of our reviews are glowing and 5-star, and I love that. And it makes much like this podcast.
That's right.
5-star
Did
reviews.
we mention all of our reviews are 5? Nobody get any ideas.
That's right.
We're so sensitive.
But I do have some reviews that are so detailed. Like the people will go in to detail about what they bought, what they loved about it, how perfect the store was, what the vibe was, everything. Like talk a whole paragraph, and then it's like 4 stars.
Like, what is the problem?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
What are they so stingy? That last star.
What do I have to do to get that last star? But yeah, I personally, I like to read them. I obviously love to see them. But for me, even when it's a bad review, I try to come at it with honesty and some humility and try to see if there's anything in some feedback, some potentially negative feedback that I can use. And sometimes I'm thinking of the comments that I've gotten. There have been comments before that are like, well, how come I can't figure out where the store is? Or how come I can't figure out what their hours are? And wow, this is so stupid that they don't post this and this and this. And I just try, for the most part, I try to kill it with kindness and just say, you know what? It's here and here and here. And you're so right. We could make that more visible. Thank you for pointing that out. And you have a great day. And then I press enter really hard and post it. So I try to kind of kill it with kindness if it's something that's like mean-spirited, but maybe has a point that could be taken. I don't know. And then I honestly forget about them. Like I'm like a goldfish when it comes to that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you and I are different personalities, which is great for our podcast, but I will stew on this stuff. I will stew on the injustice of something.
Yeah.
Like one time I had a 3-star review, and the whole comments was books ? Kindle period. 3 stars. And this was a dude I kind of knew, from around town, and I was just like, what does that even mean?
Right.
You're giving me 3 stars because I sell books?
And Kindles exist?
And Kindles exist. I don't know. That just drove me up the wall. It still does, because this review was from 10 years ago, and I still have never forgotten it.
Arguably, when Kindles were less popular.
Right. You forget about it overnight. I'm stewing on it for 10 years.
This is 10 years ago?
I think literally 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's unpack that.
Oh.
Is it healthy? Is it helping?
All right. Do you want to unpack that?
Yeah, let's unpack that. Why do you care about Kindle Man? Chris Kindle, if you will.
I think because I think it was unfair. Like, I'm not in the business of selling Kindles.
Right.
So why are you giving me a 3-star review? By the way, I consider any review less than 5 stars a bad review.
Yeah, right.
Do you?
Right.
Do you?
I kind of do. I kind of do. A 4-star, I can live with. I can sleep at night. I mean, I can sleep at night no matter what. But again, do not take that as a challenge. But
it's like we're egging.
Yeah,
we're
honestly,
egging,
I feel like we're
customers
tempting
on by
fate.
even talking about it.
Oh my
We should
God.
be knocking on so much wood.
I know, but
Except
Kelly would
Kelly
yell at us.
Walker would be so mad.
Knocking on wood. Let's just do it, Beth.
All right. Edit that, Kelly. 4 stars.
Too bad for Kelly Walker. That's going to be our first 4-star review on the podcast.
Yeah, all thanks to Kelly's editing.
Anyway, I think that it's fair to be upset about those things, but I also think, I don't know, today's a new day. Chris Kindle could be dead, and you're still here,
He
and
might
you have
be,
a
actually.
podcast.
I haven't seen him in a while.
That got dark. That was a dark place. But really, like, maybe at the end of the day, I think, okay, like, the person giving that 3-star review, most of the time, or 1-star, or 4-star, or 5-star, most of the time, they don't understand what goes into running a business behind the scenes. So, like, even if somebody came in and was like, this store was a mess, there were boxes everywhere, and this was a disaster, and I hated every minute of it, I feel like I could sleep at night knowing that maybe it was a mess, but they don't understand all the moving parts behind it. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe I was having a terrible day, maybe whatever. Like, I don't know why they felt the need to put that out on Google forever, but I usually feel like, okay, that's your opinion, but I'm here running a business doing something that you don't do, and you might not really understand the nuances of. And that's kind of bringing it back to Chris Kindle here. It's kind of what I think. It's like, okay, he makes some witty comment and leaves a 3-star review, which is serious, by the way. Leaving those kind of reviews is serious for us.
It impacts us,
It really does impact us on Google and things like that. Mm-hmm. He leaves that review. It takes him 4 seconds. What, he wrote 2 words? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're thinking about it, but at the end of the day, you have a business that is successful, and a lot of people love it. And a lot of people choose your books over Kindles every single day. And so I think with every review, I kind of take it with a grain of salt, knowing that Beth is awesome. I mean, and so who cares what that guy thinks or what that guy left?
Well, this is going to sound a little maybe sugary, but
lay it on me.
Yeah. I do go to work every day and try to do my best. Mm-hmm. There are some days that are better for me than others. You know, there are some days I'm sick and I'm still there. I'm not contagious. Ever. What I'm saying is, like, I'm tired and I'm still there. Yes. Or, you know, I've got my period and I'm still there. Or somebody in my family just died and I'm still there. Because you can't, like, I don't have any paid vacation.
The world doesn't stop for us.
Right. I'm doing my best every day. Mm-hmm. So I have to admit to myself and admit to the customers, there are some days that I'm off. Right. That I'm just tired or grumpy or sad or whatever, and I'm not bringing my A game. So I have to ask for some grace around that.
Right.
Grace for myself, too. But
well, yes.
And I think I'm not going to be 5 stars every day, and I have to understand that for myself and be like, and sleep at night like you do, even though you are apparently 5 stars every day.
Every day, baby. Which is great for the sleeping patterns. No, but I 100% agree, and I try to remind myself that. And that's what I was going to say is, like, you're never, very rarely do you get to go up to that person that had a bad experience or feels like they didn't get your A game and ask for grace and explain or or make it right even. Sometimes it's someone you'll never see again. So I think it's crucial as a business owner to be able to extend yourself grace personally and maybe a little extra for that person.
Yes.
Who you may never get to explain yourself to.
Yeah. I had a couple of, or especially in the early days, and maybe it's because I wasn't as good at my job, but I had a couple of bad reviews in the early days that were just 1 star, and I didn't have any comments. So I wrote to those people. I'm like, I'm so sorry that you had a bad experience, and can you let me know what happened, and so that I can learn and try to, correct.
Right.
And no one that I ever wrote to ever responded. To me. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And so
cowards. Cowards.
I don't know if it was just mean-spirited or maybe they just didn't think that they owed me an explanation, and that's kind of fair too.
Or maybe they didn't have one. I remember, okay, this isn't about my business, but this just popped into my head.
Okay.
A few years ago, I was looking at reviews. I was looking at local restaurants that I've been going to for years and years and years, and I don't know why I was wasting time online, but I got stuck in a rabbit hole of looking at these reviews for businesses that I eat at all the time. I know that I like them. I don't need to.
So it's not research. It wasn't curiosity.
Research. It was just curiosity. And so I'm going through these reviews for local businesses. Maybe I just discovered Yelp. I don't know. But I found this one comment that was super specific on this restaurant, and it was like, I picked up food from this place, and my wife and I ate the food, and then my wife was vomiting the whole night long, and we had to go to the emergency room, and blah, 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 never eat here again. It's like dirty and gross and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, that's awful and horrid. And just in case anyone's wondering when they're listening, if you leave a Google review like that, we can't take it down. So it's there forever. And this was from years ago. So I processed that and I moved on to the next restaurant, and the same almost verbatim review was on this other restaurant. And then I was like, that's weird, from the same person. So then I started going to these other restaurants, and the same review, tailored just a little bit to like a menu item, was left on all these different restaurant pages. And I mean, awful. And how many people are going to like see that, be stuck in the rabbit hole and like actually snoop that out? But this person was clearly just mean-spirited and just wanting to wreak a little havoc, and they left that same thing on all those different restaurants' pages. So I don't know what to glean from that, except that it's not always real, and it's not
you can't
always
believe everything
reasonable.
You read.
Right, you can't believe everything you read, but it's not always personal. Sometimes it's just a mean person, like, who just wants to be mean. So just as
like a review troll almost.
Yes. And I don't know why you would do that, but that sticks with me because, one, I can't imagine ever doing that to a small business, like just for the hell of it. But two, like I said, they're forever going to have those reviews on their Google page. Unless Google changes its policy. Knock, knock, Google. Call me.
Yeah.
But also, in that earlier I said, it's always good to glean something useful from a bad review. You also have to be aware that sometimes there's just trolls out there that just want to keep you up at night.
I had the most unfair review I think I ever got was when someone had asked for a discount. I don't know if I told you this story before, but...
Was it the white man's discount?
No. See our episode on haggling.
Yeah,
What was that, episode 3? I think it was haggling.
It was haggling, yes.
Yeah. No, this was a different time. But if you listen to that episode, you'll know how Marilla and I feel about haggling.
Yes, you will.
So this particular day, 2 people came in, a young man and a young woman, and they were browsing, they were happy, they were chatting, they seemed excited, and I thought everything was fine. The young man came up to the counter and he showed me a book and he's like, "Will you take $3 for this?" And I said, "I'm sorry." I smiled because I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be
right,
and trying not to just like rip people new.
You did not have a confused look on your face.
No, I did not.
Harkening back
to episode what?
To the tomes of
4.
episode.
Yeah, breaking up with customers.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But anyways,
I
I was pleasant and I smiled and I said, "I'm sorry, we don't negotiate on the used book prices."
Yeah.
I was proud of myself for being so cheerful and not getting insulted and not taking it personally. So then he proceeded to put the book back in the wrong place and walk out. And an hour later, I had 2 negative Google reviews, 1-star reviews that I was
bad form.
I can't remember exactly what they said. Maybe I'm unapproachable, I'm unfriendly, I won't work with people, I'm unfeeling, and I made this person feel unwelcome. And then the young woman apparently posted the same thing because I was not.
Because they were in love.
Yeah, because they were supporting each other's 1-star reviews. But I felt like that was blackmail.
Yeah,
like,
ew.
I don't give you a discount, and therefore you punish me with a negative review, even though you were perfectly happy. And it was sort of like, "I really like what you're doing, and I really like your merchandise, and will you take less for it?" It's
yeah.
And then if you say no, then you're going to have these 2 1-star reviews until
till the
of
end
eternity.
Of time. Yes.
So I don't know, and they didn't say what really happened, which was that they asked me to take a price.
They wanted.
They
to pay
didn't
you
tell
less
the
for your
whole
services.
story.
Yeah.
They told the mean version.
Oh, yeah.
So I did respond to those.
Good.
And I wasn't my best self. Do you think it's okay to respond to Google reviews?
I do. I was actually just thinking that myself. I think it's important because whether it's your best self or not, I think it is crucial to respond if you have time the best way that you can, because it communicates to the customer that you're a human being and you're not just a building with no feelings. So I mean, I don't encourage people to get on Google reviews and like cuss out people. Beth, maybe you should dial it back.
Oh, believe me, I dialed this one way back, like edit. And I still wasn't my best self.
Well, I'm sure it was fine. Wow. We're going to have a bunch of people
I know, Googling
stomping grounds.
Let's see Beth not being her best self.
Yeah. But I think it's important to go back and respond in an authentic way, in an authentic voice, and just address it, because one, you may end up clearing up a misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. And you may end up expressing that you are a human being, and you also may end up showing other people that you stand up for yourself, and you stand up for your store, and you stand up for your employees and your choices. And there is someone in town that does that quite frequently.
Responds
to their reviews.
Yeah, in a way that makes me feel a little squirmy sometimes, I have to say.
I kind of love it. Like, I don't always condone the exact wordage, but there's a part of me that's always like cheering from the sides because of what I just said. Like, I think that there's a level of like, sticking up for yourself and expressing that you're a human too, and those reviews do affect you and your livelihood.
Yeah, that's so true though. Like let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. Bad reviews cost us business.
Right.
And especially if they're unfair or like tainted or mean-spirited, just like that vomiting story you told. Like,
Right.
That's awful.
Right.
That's awful.
And that's
it
going
affects
to
a family or
cause-
families.
Right. And that's going to cause someone to not go there, and that is just somebody's groceries and somebody's piano lesson or some kids.
Somebody's gas money.
Gas money, yeah. And so I guess, I don't know. I like that people can review businesses.
Yes.
I like that. I want that. But I don't know. I wish that there was more awareness of what it means when you leave a bad review for a small business. And personally, in the last 10 years that I've been in small business, I have gotten into the habit of, if I have a bad experience at a small business, I try to personally message them and discuss it like directly or in person if you're somebody who's okay with that or comfortable with that. Instead of leaving that on Google, I try to only put positive reviews on Google and Yelp because...
Yeah, and this might be a great moment to mention that positive reviews are really great too. Like a lot of people, I think I read some statistic that if you don't have a good experience, you're 9 times more likely to leave a review than if you have a good experience.
Oh my God.
So if you see somebody with a 4.5 or a 4.8, like me, 4.8. And it's basically these.
I don't know what that's like.
Or like, just imagine, like, that's way more, like, that's skewed in a way because way more people than even leave positive reviews are having positive experiences.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
it's interesting. But to circle back to this person.
Oh, yes.
In town.
Yes. I know who you mean.
I think we should get him in the studio.
Yep, I agree with you. I think he's going to have a lot of insights that...
I think we should give Dick Austin a call.
Okay.
And see if he would want to chat about his experiences
Get him
with
in the
bad
room.
reviews.
Get him in the room.
Get him in.
Okay.
Hello, Dick Austin.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us on our podcast. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you being here. And Beth, do you?
I also appreciate Dick being here because I know that he has a lot to keep him busy. So I appreciate you taking the time.
For sure.
From your business or businesses, can you tell us about how you spend all your time?
Sure. So I guess the first part of my day is my day job. For the last 7 years, I work for Cox Automotive, which is a subsidiary of Cox Enterprises based out of Atlanta, Georgia. My official title is a performance manager. And through that job, I guess I found my way, full circle in the restaurant world. I was.
How do those connect?
That always
need
happens.
a little help.
Yeah,
I think that always happens.
I was in the restaurant business. I was in the restaurant business when I was in high school and right out of high school, just doing small stuff. And through one way or another, I found myself in the automobile world, and I just liked it. It provided a great living. It was a great career. I got involved with a ton of community stuff. That's really the automobile business is where I learned to be really in service to my community. But I always said to myself, if I ever had the ways and means, I would love to own a restaurant. I love cooking. I love food. I shouldn't even be able to fit through a doorway with the amount of cooking and eating I do. But 6 years ago, I partnered up with now Marilla's father-in-law.
This is true.
And we started a restaurant, or really we brought back a great restaurant, which is Bella Sicilian. And we've had that. We opened up Mother's Day of 2018.
Oh, gosh.
18, because it's been, so Mother's Day this year was 5 years.
Nice.
Yep. And then a year ago, last June, we opened up Bella Seneca Lake Steakhouse, and we've had that now for 14 months, and that's the night job.
Yeah.
A little more involved than I thought, but it kind of has become a little bit of an unruly runaway beast.
So do you think you have a passion for restauranting still? Or have you achieved that dream and it's starting to look a little less shiny? Like, how are you feeling about it this far in?
I still love it. what's funny is what tempers a passion is how many roadblocks I think you have to go through to get there. And it's so weird because I guess my definition, and maybe your definition or Marilla's definition of success is all different things. Quite frankly, within the confines of what I do and what I have, and, if you want to think about reputation or financial status, I'm still a couple miles, maybe a couple 100 miles away from what I would consider success. But do you consider that? And geez, I'm so busy, I don't have time to sleep. As a business, am I financially sound? Am I cash poor? So it's real hard how to define success. I think if someone asked me, what about your businesses do you have success in your mind about? I would say our community involvement.
Sure.
In just shy of 6 years, both businesses have contributed well over $50,000 to the community. And that's because, 9 times out of 10, I don't take a paycheck. That's why I have my day job. And that's why, as we come to it, my view of a business reputation and reviews is somewhat skewed, is I don't need and I don't require that restaurant for a living. I do it because I want to.
Because you love it.
Fascinating. So you can afford, in a sense, because of your day job, you can afford to be a little bit more brave with your responses to customers.
In a sense.
The responses to the customer is difficult. I think whenever there's so many different mindsets. Is one, what's your primary mindset when you respond to a review? Is it my business or is it not? Do I have the authority to say whatever? And it's difficult because as someone who works for a company and someone who, when I got my start in the professional world, I worked for a company, you have to walk a tight line because you want to say what really happened, but you also don't want to get fired.
Right.
So it's tough. And Marilla, both it's so much different when it's your baby. When it's
your baby, yes.
It's tough.
Yes.
I can't even begin to tell you how many nights I've not been able to see my kids. How many nights I haven't spent time with my wife. And I'll be the first one to admit, it has not been easy on our relationship.
Of course, yeah.
It's been hard. I've had to rearrange stuff. I've had to sacrifice time with friends, with family, trips, so it's tough. And, all that's always swirling in the back of your mind, most of all, the back of your heart when you respond to them.
Right.
Because so many people, they don't have an idea. They have no clue what you put into this. And for them to just take the smallest of errors, the simplest of mistakes, or something that isn't even your fault or your doing, and just blow it out of proportion for all the world to see. It just enrages you.
It can be enraging. That's for sure.
It hurts.
Let's dive into the fact that we're coming at this from a couple different angles. You have the glowing 5-star reviews, which all of us have lovely glowing 5-star reviews. And then you have
not 5-star reviews.
I know. Anything less, right?
Yeah.
Anything less is you too. Anything less than 5.
Unacceptable.
Then you have the 1-star reviews with these long diatribes about their experience, and those are easy to
Tom Clancy novels.
Get back. Yeah, right. Those are easy to get back into and really just answer back and go blow by blow.
Yep.
But then you have, I don't know which is more frustrating, the 1-star reviews with no explanation or the glowing reviews that are 4 stars. Nothing's wrong. Loved everything. 4 stars.
Yeah.
You know what? I can tell you that that's never bothered me.
No? That doesn't. Okay.
I will tell you what hurts. So a 1-star review with no explanation is extremely disheartening because as a business owner, we are not, and I'm talking about my businesses, we are not perfect.
Right.
We are human. We are fallible.
Right.
We make mistakes. But if I don't know about it, how could I possibly fix it?
Right. That's something Beth was saying earlier, was that you said that you had some earlier on that were one.
Like if I had 1-star reviews, I will write to the person and say, I'm so sorry you had a bad experience. Please let me know what happened. And never have I actually had a response to that inquiry.
That's the thing. It's like, I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah.
You know, this is my cell phone number. Text me, call me. You can send an email. Let me know in greater detail
Right.
what we did.
Right.
The number one most hurtful review. I can't believe I'm talking about
We're
this.
going to get into it. Here
The
comes
number
the
one
tea.
most, the number one most hurtful thing is, to me, I think a lot of people who are looking at reviews care more about what is written than just the stars.
Yes.
They like to read.
Right.
So when we get a whatever star review and I see that it's wordy, I'm sitting down.
Oh, yeah.
Because when somebody absolutely shreds my business and they are absolutely correct, I cannot tell you how many times it's brought me to tears.
Right.
Because I'm looking at this review and I'm like, this person came in and they spent an hour and a half in my business and they summed it up in 3 paragraphs that were a piece of shit. And there's no defense. I mean, I have the thank you reviews, I have the tell me what I did wrong reviews, and then I have if you want to fight, I'm more than welcome to fight.
Yes, and this is what we are intrigued about. How many times have you met someone in the back parking lot? Maybe had a fist fight?
Never.
Never?
Never.
So you run over people with your car?
Never. But I mean, with any review that's bad, the first thing you have to do is you have to look at it and you have to go,
Right.
Did we fail the client? Or did the client just have unreasonable expectations?
Yeah.
If this is a legitimate concern and we failed our customers' expectations, and in that case, I have to figure out, one, how did we fail? Apologize to the customer, figure out, is there something I can do to rectify that? You know, can I offer you another visit free? Can I refund your bill? What can I do to make this better? Because the worst thing I would want is me feeling like, well, now that I know I failed the customer, I also took your money.
Right.
Ooh, yeah.
And
Right.
I will refund somebody their money. I don't care what it is. If you
Right.
come in and you have a bad experience and I know we failed you, then I do not have the right to keep your money.
Beth, you had mentioned a little while back that, what is it? People are 9 times more likely to leave a negative review as opposed to taking the time and leaving a positive review.
Yes, and we're all guilty of that.
100%.
We're all guilty of that.
Yep.
I try to remember, but speaking to your point, Dick, is that I'm now to this point, and I don't know how we feel about it, but I'm feeling like that's why I like to leave the positive reviews when I feel like I should. When I've had a great review or when I've had a great experience at a place, leave that positive review because it means so much for our algorithms and our boost and our searches and all that. But if I have a bad experience, 9 times out of 10, that's why I say approach the business. And if you don't want to do it face to face, send them an email, send them or give them a call, because, you know, it does have a lasting effect for us. I sound like a broken record. But I feel like in today's day and age, it's more effective if you reach out to Beth if you've had a bad
I
experience.
think the question is like, do you actually want change or do you just want to complain?
Yeah,
100%.
Right.
You hit the nail on the head. Are you doing this from a standpoint of, listen, I foresee some problems, and by no means am I an expert, but I'd like to share my experience.
Right.
Or is it like, you know what, I'm just going to, piss and moan, bitch and complain, and it's tough. I mean, I will be the first one to admit, when we first opened the steakhouse, it was rough. This
bumpy
restaurant
ride.
is 4 times the size of my first one, a completely different concept, and it was rough. It was so rough, I shut our reviews off to Facebook. You can't go and leave a Facebook review for the steakhouse.
In the beginning, yeah.
It's now.
Oh, still, yeah.
It's still off.
Yeah.
I could not keep spending 40 hours a week there and then combating reviews when I wasn't there.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's so
Too much.
disheartening.
Right.
So disheartening.
Too much.
And you know what? In the therapist's office, I don't
Yes.
know, I might be the only expert here about the therapist's office.
What's a
But
therapist?
guilt and shame does not motivate you to change.
No.
Yeah.
Talking crap to somebody does not make them want to wake up in the morning and go in and do better and try harder. It's just demoralizing and
Yeah.
disheartening, and it makes you want to give up.
Yeah.
Right.
And it also can poison your relationship with customers.
100%.
Right? If you're getting bad reviews and you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I working 18 hours a day? Why am I
Yeah.
investing in this? Why, and then that doesn't just affect you personally, it affects your employees, because then you can't be waving the flag and being like, let's do a great job tonight,
Yeah.
guys.
You
because
can't
you're
be an
hurting.
effective owner.
Yeah.
You can't be an effective leader.
Yeah.
Because you're approaching every moment of every day just from this demoralized standpoint.
And wincing, frankly, wincing every time you make a mistake. You then have a fear of failure.
You're gun
because
shy.
It's like
you're gun
it's
shy,
an
right.
avalanche effect.
Right.
Every negative comment just, is 2 times more painful the next time and 3 times more painful after that.
As a business owner, you have to be able to know when to do something like turn off the Facebook reviews. When you have to recognize that to grow and work on your business in a healthy way, then maybe that's a good idea to step away from that information feed.
I took, after we were open for 9 months, I printed every single bad review. And what I did is I categorized it. What is the, what's the base alloy of this person's problem? Now, whether or not I thought it was bullshit or not, I think even a uncalled for bad review still has some basis in reality.
Right.
So I sat down in my upstairs and I took a black marker and I wrote, is it the salad bar? Is it our decor? Because, people are offended that we have a cow mural in our steakhouse. And
You're not
when
the
we
most
first
subtle,
opened,
man.
you would not believe how many people are like, I can't believe you have pictures of animals.
Oh, we don't want to be aware of where our
this-
food is coming
I'm like,
from.
Man, you're eating a rare steak. What do you think this came from?
Right.
And one, it's a beautiful pastoral photo. It's not
It is
like hanging
beautiful.
slabs of beef. I mean,
It's not like dead cows.
yeah.
Just
so
draped
so
over
I took
the
them all and I put.
That's a
okay,
concept, though. That
Yeah.
gives me a restaurant idea.
Is it we messed up their order? Was
Right.
it something with our reservations? Was it something with a beverage? So I categorized them and then I tallied them. And from that, it kind of gave me, okay, how do I triage this? Because these people have some sort of basis in reality. And if I just ignore that, I might as well just lock the doors and walk away. Because at the end of the day, if we don't have customers, we don't have businesses.
Yeah, right.
That's how I try to even pass the response and stuff. That's why I'm like, okay, you're past the initial shock of the just emotional erosion.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, how do I either A, keep planting potatoes and keep getting potatoes, or how do I do something different, enact a change so we can get fewer and fewer and fewer? And we have, thank goodness, after 14 months, we
Knock
have
on
gotten
wood.
fewer and fewer and fewer.
I think all three of us have different approaches, very clearly different approaches to how we deal with reviews that are good and bad. But something consistent is that we're all in it to serve our community. We're all in it to provide something we care about to people we care about. But I think it's important to be able to parse those, like you said, the productive bad reviews, the ones that you can take something out of and say, okay, this hurts, but it can help me. And then be able to also look at reviews like books, Kindle, and know
Yeah.
that that's just not really something that is worth a lot of time, even though it still hurts. I think it's important and a skill that you just have to keep practicing and a muscle that you have to keep flexing to be able to parse out which ones.
In the olden days, there was comment cards at restaurants and other places too,
yes.
right? And, a business does want to know ways in which it could be better and provide a better service and elevate itself. We all want to be the best we can be. But there is this, and it's sometimes very hard to parse out, like, what is just somebody is just kind of being a jerk, or somebody feels insecure in their own lives, and so they go around making other people feel bad. Like, those people are out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they've had a terrible day, and now they're having a terrible night, and they're going to take it out.
They're going to take it out on you or your server.
100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of server, I think that's something that I do respect, even though I'm not always as spicy as you when I respond to reviews.
We like that you defend your staff.
Yeah.
You ever kicked anybody out?
That's a different episode. You'll have to listen to our podcast.
Yes. Which episode was that? Breaking up with customers? Yes. Check that episode out. Beth has.
Have to do that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's very much along the same things is whether you're in person or whether it's online review. And I have, and nothing will take me to 100 miles an hour faster than when I have a waitress walk back in the kitchen and they're in tears.
Right.
And I'm like,
There's nothing should happen.
and I'm like,
Nothing
what
should
happened?
happen.
Yeah.
They're just
That would
being
cause that.
They're just being, okay, let's go.
Let's go,
you
girls.
have one of three options. I'm going to take care of your bill, and you need to get up and leave right now. Or I'm going to take care of your bill, and I will pick you up, and I will throw you up. And as 6'7" and all 250 pounds of me, I will pick somebody
probable,
up,
yeah,
and I
that
will
you
throw
could.
them out the door. Or we'll
not
sit
an idle
here.
threat.
We'll sit here until the cops come because now you're trespassing.
Right.
Because you've been banned from the premises.
Right.
Because nothing that ever happens in your day should ever cause you to make somebody who you don't even know, who is just serving you food, make you treat them bad enough where they need to cry.
Yeah.
Get out of my business and don't come back.
And that's something that comes through even when you look at all the reviews that Bella's has, which,
Most
anyone,
of them, by the way, are
anyone
positive.
can
Let's just
Google.
repeat that.
Yeah,
because we've been-
anyone can Google and see that there's an overwhelming amount of positive reviews.
Sure.
And the proof is in the pudding or the sauce or whatever.
I don't know. I really love pudding.
But I do too. But something that comes through very clearly with your responses to the bad reviews that are clearly just picking on people and picking on service or picking on a bad night at a restaurant is that you do go to bat for your employees and you go to bat for your servers.
Yeah, no waiter is ever going up to a table and being like, I want these people to have a really crappy night. And I'm going to do as bad a job as I possibly can.
Right.
I can't wait to do all this work for no money.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't get any tip at all.
Yeah, that'd
Right,
be great.
Yeah.
right.
There's never any kind of server who's in that mental space, really, like realistically. So there's never any reason for you as the customer not to assume that this server wants to make your night terrific.
Right.
Or at least very good.
Yeah, to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
And I guess to distill it, I would say what I'm getting from the way you receive and respond to reviews, good or bad, is that if you're a business owner listening and you're going through this, it's important to take what you can learn from it, good or bad. But it's also important to know your worth and know what's your fault and what's not, and be able to stand up for yourself.
The
so
hard
you
thing
can
is
sleep at night.
None of it is personal, but it all feels so personal.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Like-
it's really hard to get into that place where you can just have you got to count to 10 at least before you respond
Right.
to a review.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
I'm so bad. I'm like, I can see, like, I'm reading it, and with each word, I can feel my blood pressure going up, and I'm mad, and I'm hurt, and then I'm like, okay, what you want to say right now, don't.
Not appropriate.
Not appropriate. So let's put the phone down. Let's walk away. Let's walk out to the garden, check how the pumpkins are doing, and let's come back and you know. And I got to tell you, that has cost us, because we have had people who have sent us messages or have said, "I cannot believe you talk to people like that." I'm like, but why can't you believe people are talking to us like that? I said, this is a response.
Yeah.
It's not, the initial thrust.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and if you're the one saying that, you're that customer who leaves those kind of reviews.
Right.
If you're the one going, I can't believe you talk to people like that, I can guarantee you, if you have a Google profile, I can go back and you're leaving those reviews.
I have an important question.
I have a just as important answer.
How are the pumpkins doing in the garden?
I will tell you that
They're watered with rage.
Yeah, we have grown. This is the third or fourth year we've grown pumpkins, and you've been out to the garden patch.
Yes.
Because we have a 50 or 60 foot by 30 foot garden that we grow a multitude of vegetables. And
For the record, it's way too big of a garden for someone with 2 restaurants and a day job.
yeah, but you know what? I love it. And like you'll see on Facebook, is we just give them out for free.
So do you think that is directly linked to the personal work you've been doing on yourself, working on those bad reviews in the garden? The energy from that growth going straight to the pumpkins.
I think that it's a great way to disconnect, where I can take both my cell phones and my laptop and leave them in the garage, and I can just go out for a half an hour and pull some weeds.
Yep. If you're someone at home listening and you're dealing with bad reviews, dealing with good reviews, wondering if you should respond, wondering how to sleep at night after you just got a 1-star review with no words, what's your advice to that person? How do you...
To the customer?
No, to the business owner.
To the business owner, yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with reviews? What's a healthy way to do that?
You need to read it, and then you need to read it, and then read it, and then read it.
Yes.
And and listen, I am the first one who's just as guilty. Do not react as a knee-jerk reaction. Don't. Because it's like anything else in life. It's like, oh, that initial is like, okay, that's my emotional, but now let me think about this. Okay. All right. So is this really a problem? Is this something of my doing? Process it. If I could wrap it all up into one, respond, because it is your business and it is your reputation. Respond, but temper the response with digestion time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let it sink in. Think on it. If it's something that specifically names, a failure of a process or an employee failure, get their opinion. Like, hey, tell me what happened. Yeah. Give me your opinion. And then get it. That's the thing. It's like you should try to fix it.
Remember earlier in this episode, before Dick joined us, I was talking about some responses that I made to the people who blackmailed me.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I said Beth wasn't her best self when she responded. And I think what really happened is, whether or not my reply was valid, is that I didn't step away before I started.
Yeah.
Tip-tapping away.
Yeah.
Tip-tapping away. And I just was not in a healthy place in my mind when I wrote my response.
Yeah.
So whether or not they were right or wrong, and they were wrong, by the way.
Let the record show.
Let the record show they were wrong. I didn't give myself enough time to breathe in and out and think about how to be gracious.
Right.
But anyways,
well,
visit the restaurants and subscribe and review to the podcast.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
I appreciate it.
This was fun.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate it. It was a nice conversation to have.
We chat about the biz, it is the way it is. Thank you for understanding.
We sincerely thank you for understanding. Please visit us at tyfupod.com to learn more about the show, share prompt ideas, or tell us about your own small business experiences. We may include your story in a future episode. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at tyfupod or on tyfupod.com. Our theme song was composed by Marilla Gonzalez. The show is produced by Kelly Walker. Too bad for Kelly Walker.
There's literally nothing I love more than just being covered in dirt, dinking around with my pumpkins.